All right, everybody. Episode 118 of Now Showing with Mike and Wayne, and we are going to get weird today as we are going to review Weird, the Al Yankovich Story, starring Daniel Radcliffe. Leading
Dare
up,
I say it was magical?
ooh, we are going to lead up to that though by talking about other spoof movies. Just so people know, Weird, yes, is a biopic, but it's a fake biopic. It's not. It's not accurate. But we'll get into that. But I just want people to realize that, like, they're, don't go in expecting like Walk the Line or something.
Yeah. More like Dewey Cox.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. More Dewey Cox for sure.
This was an incredibly difficult topic for me this week because there is just so much parody out there. And, when you don't think about it on the day-to-day, when we were researching for this episode, I'm like, all right, let's just Google parody movies and, oh my God. Just, how do I choose?
Well, especially too the guy we're going to talk about first, but you look at like Leslie Nielsen, an entire back half of his career is spoof movies, and then you have director Mel Brooks, who only ever did spoof movies, and so you just those two guys alone cover like the last 50 years or so. But then you realize too that we haven't really had as much lately. But then there's a couple good ones to splice in there. I know we've talked about them before, so we're not going to go in like Pop Star, Walk Hard. We talked those movies very very long on about those films. So, but there's just, especially like I said, back in when they were making them. I mean, there was like what 2 or 3 a year for quite some time before it kind of faded away.
Yeah.
So there's so many, but we're gonna dive in first. We're gonna talk about Leslie Nielsen. Um, he was one of those actors. He came up as a dramatic actor, was in like a couple like B horror films, some dramas, and then and they have it here separated on Wikipedia. Airplane and the Naked Gun is its own category on here because that was kind of when Leslie Nielsen became Leslie Nielsen that we all know and love. The goofy, no sense I won't say no nonsense, no sense police officer, and Frank Drummond, also the doctor in Airplane. Don't Call Me Shirley, as many people know that line and many other lines from that film.
I speak a little jive.
Yes. So, I mean, Leslie Nielsen spent, I think, basically our childhood, Wayne, making us laugh. Like he was the go-to kind of like goofy guy. I mean, even if he tried to get into a lot of kid movies, even with the sadly made Mr. Magoo. But we won't spend time on that one. He just kept at it, and then you had mentioned before we started this Dracula Dead and Loving It. So let's start there. We'll kind of start later and we'll move back a little bit. But Dracula Dead and Loving It was one of those films. I remember I saw it in theaters. I couldn't get over how like deadpan it was and hilarious, and also the amount of blood. One of my favorite scenes I remember is Steven Weber when he's stabbing the corpse and Mel Brooks is hiding behind the pillar. They're not dead yet, and like he keeps just going and just blood everywhere.
My biggest take back as seeing this as a 12, 13-year-old boy was, wow, boobs.
That too, lots of boobs. Mel Brooks never did really showed any nudity, but lots of cleavage in all his films. I think he kind of knew who he was making those for.
Well, masterfully done too, because if you think back to other films, obviously we're going to talk Blazing Saddles a little bit again, because I'm never going to pass some time to bring up Blazing Saddles.
An amazing movie. So,
but the whole lovemaking scene in the dark with the sheriff and everything, but the cleavage, and then just the subtlety of it, like when Dracula turned into the bat and Renfield closed the window. Renfield, you asshole! As he's a bat fluttering around. Since we're on the topic of Mr. Nielsen here, like we are of an age approaching or middle age. God, I hate saying that. It's like vinegar, but hey, here we are. Leslie Nielsen was always a parody actor for me. I don't ever remember him being in anything serious
Nope.
or
Mm-mm.
horror, like you mentioned. Like we had to research that stuff,
Mhm.
history. So this is what he's always been for me. This was his lane, and he was the master and commander, or captain of the ship in this. Or if he was the general, Mel Brooks was the commander in chief, if you will.
Yes, for
So
sure, for sure. So it was great. That's why Dracula Dead Loving is a good one to start off because it was, I believe, their only time that they worked together,
yeah,
and it was great to get them together for one movie, just to get that the comedy out of both of them too, and then the fact that they get to play off of each other too. One of
yes.
my favorite parts of Dracula Dead and Loving It was when Van Helsing, played by Mel Brooks, is he's always going to have the last word, and he's not really paying attention, but you hear Dracula off and the no like they keep going back and forth, and it's really
The
hilarious.
coffin,
Yep. Oh my god.
whatever. I don't even remember exactly what it was. I'll have to revisit this one. But
I have to,
yeah,
yeah. I bought it recently, like the last couple months, but I haven't sat down and watched it again. So I'm gonna have to revisit it. I was hoping to get to do it this week, but again, another genre of movies my wife hates, so it's hard to watch them.
I hear you. My other thing, it's like the what Sandler has kind of taken from Mel Brooks and the recurring actors. If
Yeah,
it's a Mel Brooks movie, you're going to see Harvey Korman. You're going to see, of course, now everybody else's name escapes me, but
Terry Garr for a while. You had obviously, God, why am I drawing a blank? Willy Wonka.
yeah, blonde hair, curly, Richard Pryor's buddy.
Gene Wilder.
Thank you.
That guy.
I mean, I
God.
get a pass because I'm not the walking dictionary. You, on the other hand, sir,
I
shame.
even I could have just clicked over to my Blazing Saddles tab and looked at it too, but I was like, I should know Gene Wilder. I shouldn't have to look it up.
Look at you using logic that I didn't think of. Damn it. Uh,
Anyway, as we're
I think
having
it's going to be one of those episodes, guys. I apologize in advance.
well, and you know what better episode than to be spoof movies where we can't hold it together. So, um, but obviously too, and with the news recently, they're gonna redo Naked Gun, which I'm okay with. Seth MacFarlane is working on it along with the Lonely Island guys. Kiva Schaefer is supposed to be directing it, and they're getting. I keep wanting to say his name instead of Leslie Nielsen, Liam Neeson, to do the role, which that's what and talking with our friend JT, what worked with him doing those parody films was that he had that sensibility of a dramatic actor, is that he
Mm-hmm.
was able to play things so straight that when the comedy happened you couldn't help but just fall on the floor laughing because it was so perfect. And I'm excited to see if Liam Neeson can do this and see if it works out. Now he has been in some spoof comedies, with the one with that Seth MacFarlane did, the cowboy one. So he has done.
500 Ways to Die in the Old West.
Yeah, that one. Yeah,
One of the ones I wanted to mention, and since we brought it up right now, that Back to the Future cameo scene, right in
yes,
the feels.
so good. That's a good. It's the movie itself is decent, but that there are scenes throughout that movie that are really really well done.
Yes.
And Liam Neeson is great in it too. It's the bag. It's the bag.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But so the Naked Gun franchise, Wayne, that was the one that I probably like came up on along with like Hot Shots. Naked Gun was the premier franchise. Like a lot of the movies we talk about on this podcast, the first one that I really remember seeing is 33 and a Third, because that came out in 93 when we were, old enough to see those type of movies. So I kind of worked my way backwards to see the other two. Um, but just it's so funny. So just the physical comedy is on point in those films. Just the first movie with the Queen and with Reggie Jackson and all that stuff is just so good. What are your thoughts on the Naked Gun franchise?
When I think Naked Gun, it's very obscure. I think of Drebin and, gosh, what's his name? Kennedy.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, his
George
captain.
Kennedy. I'm like,
Yeah,
not Ted.
yeah.
Not the politician, George Kennedy. They're sitting in the squad car and they're on like a sting or is it a sting where they're just sitting there and watching and observing?
You call that stakeout?
A stakeout, yes. And they're eating the red pistachios with the red
Yeah,
dye on there. And they got the lipstick on. They open up the car door, and the shells just fall out, and it's just so obscure. But I just remember laughing so hard at that. It's
Yeah.
like, look at all the cancer they've consumed.
Just and it's stuff like that that I think sticks with you, and even though we don't like talking about him as a person anymore, but OJ too, those scenes with him where he where he takes on like the entire like mafia in the beginning and ends up and gets like murdered, straight up murdered, but just ends up in the hospital in a full body cast. Hilarious. I mean,
Yeah,
all that stuff was just really funny.
the RoboCop effect.
Yes, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what they were spoofing, and they did it very, very well.
I mean, you obviously, you've got a Sopranos tie because Nancy Marchand is the mayor in this movie.
Yep, that's right. That's right. I forgot about that.
Last time I watched it, and it's got to be at least 10 years since I've seen it. But oh, poor you! As soon as she comes on screen, this franchise also led to a very awkward conversation when the condom, full body condom scene.
Yep.
It's like,
Yep.
what the hell? And my dad just kind of like, yep.
Yeah. That's a thing that they're doing. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah,
Oh,
there's so many scenes. Yeah, and Priscilla Presley too. Really funny in this.
Weird Al Yankovic in this movie.
Yep.
It all ties together,
It
sir.
all ties together. Well,
Almost like we planned this.
yes, exactly. Well, and of course you could
We didn't, but maybe you did. I didn't. I'm like, oh yeah.
let's just pretend. UHF, is another one. If you're talking Weird Al, like you could tell, like this was his category, this is his area, this is where he thrived. It's unfortunate that movie didn't do well because that kind of ended his movie career, not his music career, but his movie career when that one didn't do well. But yeah, Weird Al popping up in this franchise and many others and stuff as well. Hot Shots, Wayne. To me, that was another one. Like right after, right around that time of Naked Gun 3, Hot Shots, and then of course Hot Shots Part 2 with the great Lloyd Bridges, Charlie Sheen. Again, another like yes, he's done some comedy and stuff, especially obviously later in his life, but early at that point in time, he really, aside from like Major League, he hadn't done a comedy like this. And he had done Platoon. So he's done lots of serious work. So he was able to kind of take that serious work and then put it into Hot Shots, which I think is, again, what makes this movie work is because his performance is he plays it so straight and it works so well. Just there's so many scenes in this movie. Go ahead, Wayne.
I just love the fact that because of Hot Shots, we got 2.5 Men.
True. Yep.
Not really. I mean, there'd be no correlation there, but
No,
obviously.
well, definitely. Well, I mean, the fact that John Cryer is in Hot Shots and Hot Shots Part 2 as Walleye, one of my favorite characters, who has the glasses that he just can't see out of. Yeah, these movies are really funny. You have the whole and the second one with the Saddam Hussein where he molds. It's a very Terminator 2, and him and the dog mold into one, and he becomes Saddam Hussein but with a dog face. Just ridiculous, hilarious stuff. Lloyd Bridges at his finest moments. Another actor who I believe started out doing quite like serious stuff and then later in life got into these type of movies, and this is basically again what our generation remembers him for, being in these spoof movies. um these movies were hilarious to me. I still watch them from time to time. Just and we'll get into it too and weird a little bit, the whole Rambo joke and stuff too, with the second one where he's dropped in the forest and he's got the Rambo headband, and
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, and Mr. Bean makes an appearance in the second one, Rowan Atkinson, as the husband of the love interest from the first movie from Hot Shots. Yeah, just great franchise in my opinion. um I wanted to talk Top Secret, Wayne. You remember Top Secret?
Top Secret. Let me see. It doesn't ring a bell off the top of my head,
So
but
it's Zucker, Abrams, and Zucker, the guys that did Hot Shots and Naked Gun. Top Secret is the first film of a young Val Kilmer. And he plays like a rock musician who ends up becoming like a spy. So it was a spoof movie from the early 80s. Another one that I had to kind of like discover myself on TV and stuff in the early 90s. Really funny. Val Kilmer, fantastic. And again, you take a guy at this point, this is his first movie, but he would go on to be this very serious actor. So obviously an actor who had lots of chops and stuff. Um, and did a lot of great work after this. But to see, if you haven't seen this, Wayne, you need to check this one out. It is hilarious. It's in the same vein as Naked Gun and Hot Shots and all the Mel Brooks movies. So people check out Top Secret. It is. I'm not surprised for Wayne to be like, huh, I got to look this one up, because it is one of those, I think, lesser known spoof films from that time frame.
Looks like it is available on Amazon Prime. So if anybody wants to check
Nice.
this out,
Check it out, everybody. You will not be disappointed, I promise. Um, so you mentioned when we've talked about Mel Brooks, Blazing Saddles. Blazing Saddles is probably one of my favorite comedies of all time. But why don't you give us some thoughts on Blazing Saddles?
he rode a blazing saddle, he wore a shining star. All right, so my love of cowboys and westerns and just slapstick comedy are combined in this perfect amalgam of a creation. Made in 1974, so keep that in mind with the humor and the language that's used. That was a much different time, and we are in a much different place these days. So,
Yes.
that being said, this is another Mel Brooks classic, written by Mel Brooks, Norman Steinberg, and Andrew Bergman, starring Cleavon Little, Gene Wilder, Slim Pickens, Harvey Korman, Madeline Kahn, Mel Brooks himself, Alex Karras. Alex Karras is Mongo, probably one of the
Yep.
most polarizing characters in the.
So good.
Yeah, Liam Dunn, George Firth, Carol Arthur, Robin Hilton as Miss Stein, the voluptuous sex symbol of the movie, if you will.
Yep.
All right, so here's a little breakdown. Let me see. Where's the better breakdown here? The ultimate Western spoof. A town where everyone seems to be named Johnson is in the way of the railroad. In order to grab their land, Hedley Lamar, played by Harvey Korman, a politically connected, nasty person, sends in his henchmen to make the town unlivable. After they kill the sheriff, the town demands a new sheriff from the governor, played by Mel Brooks. Hedley convinces him to send the town the first black sheriff, played by Cleavon Little. Sheriff Bart is a sophisticated urbanite who will have some difficulty winning over the townspeople. And boy, does he.
There's a lot of things that we can't talk about in this movie, per se.
A lot of use of the word that we have no business saying.
Exactly.
But I mean, let's just even start like the spoof with the beginning of the movie when Cleavon Little's family is moving west, part of the wagon train,
Yep.
and they have the
And
interaction.
they're segregated. They're not allowed to ride with the white wagon train, so they're going around in their own circle.
Yes.
being
And
chased
when
by
the Native
natives.
Americans come to investigate, they leave them alone because wow, they're darker than we are. So
Right. Yep. Exactly.
just connection there. Open up to the start of the movie where he's in the full suede cowboy jumpsuit with the Gucci saddlebags.
Yep.
Well, that's not the opening scene, but that's where he finally the sheriff.
Cut from when they decide to send him in as the sheriff because they want that town to like be destroyed.
When they rescue each other from the quicksand,
Yep.
And the guy's sending a telegraph. Tell him that I said whap, ow! Tell him I said ow. Gotcha. It's just a man in a horse being hung.
That's one of my favorite scenes. Just the imagery of the man and the horse, each with a noose on their neck, like you just hear it in the background.
The tall scene, just utter stupidity, where they set up a makeshift toll booth with the arm down, and the cowboys don't think just ride around it and go to where they're somebody ride back to town and get a shitload of dimes.
Oh my god! And
that's when all the trouble started. A gang of murderers and thieves.
My
And then, of course, it turns into a musical. I'm sorry, I cut you off again.
Yeah, no,
If
yeah,
you guys don't know, you haven't realized, this is one of the movies I have very fond memories of. The epic musical at the end with
yep.
Dom DeLuise.
Oh god,
Again,
DeLuise
playing
is
off,
fantastic.
different stereotypes and different lifestyles and whatnot. And I funny, nowadays probably a disrespectful way, but also not outright bigoted or anything like that.
Well,
Just playing off a stereotype,
here's
I
what
think.
I want people to understand about Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks is a Jewish man. So Mel Brooks attacked anti-Semitism. He attacked racism.
Yes,
So a lot of the stuff you see in his films, he's actually saying something. He's not just doing it for comedy. It's just in a slapstick comedy.
yes.
Um, and I think that gets lost when people go, "Oh, we can't make this day." I'm like, "We can. It just would have to be different. The comedy is different today, so you can make this type of movie. Watch something like Sorry to Bother You. That's a movie that handles racism. It's very goofy, very weird. Um, it's not a spoof, but it's just you can make movies like this today. You just have to do it under today's standards and how
And
movies are made.
the problem is, the bigots and the Neanderthals and the knuckle draggers who will weaponize something like that.
Of course,
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what they're saying. That's
we
it.
we talked about this when people say, in my opinion, when people say, "Oh, this can't be made today," what it means, what they're telling you is that they can no longer quote the lines from the movie that they want to quote that are deemed offensive. And they probably they shouldn't have been doing that from the beginning, but again, we live in a society where we allowed that from time to time. So they were able to say those things. Now they can't and go, "Oh, well, I was just quoting the movie, man. No big deal." But now we don't allow that. That can't happen. So that's really what they're saying. Movies like this can be made and are made today, and just in a different way. But I do. I'm going to get off my soapbox here for a minute. I do want to go back to Blazing Saddles. One of my favorite part is the introduction to Gene Wilder and the Waco Kid, and where he's trying to convince Bart that he's the Waco Kid, and he tells him the story. He's like walking down the street one day, and I hear, "Reach for this guy, mister." I turn around, both guns drawn. This 10-year-old kid pointing his gun at me. Threw down my guns, turned around, walked away. A little bastard shot me in the ass. Crawled inside of a whiskey bottle ever since. That's like my favorite intro to a character ever. I love it. I love quoting that. It's a great Gene Wilder moment. It's not necessarily the intro, but it's like the intro backstory to his character. Because there's also the funny part. I don't mind saying like, are we awake? It depends. Are we black? Yes, then we are awake. Like there's just that the comic timing between him and Clavon Little was fantastic. They worked really well off of each other. I almost wish they would have introduced Gene Wilder earlier because the comic duo of those two I thought was very fantastic, and I love that movie. Just that when he's so when he's doing the chess scene, Wayne, and he never moves his hands, but yet he's able to put the chess piece into his gun holster to show how fast he is.
Yep.
Um, and also too, you can't see what I'm doing, but I shoot with this hand, and it's the hand that's going crazy.
Solid as a rock. Yeah, but I shoot with this one. Tell me, are you in show business? No. Well, get your feet off the stage.
She's great too. Madeline Kahn is fantastic in this film. Supposed to be like a German spy, but really ends up falling for Bart for reasons that if you've seen the movie, you'll understand. It's
It's true.
true. It's true.
It's true.
Yeah. So this film is it's fantastic. We'll talk one more Mel Brooks movie before we get into our next section here. Wayne, you brought up Spaceballs pre-show.
It's a
Uh,
Spaceballs.
and I think I know why you love Spaceballs so much. I mean, we both grew up on it, but also you're a huge Star Wars fan. So to
Everybody
have
loves good helmets.
yeah, to have that parody that's not only of your one of your favorite franchises, but also very funny and very kind of spot on. What are your thoughts on Spaceballs?
Absolutely love it. Like the running joke is, yeah, they parodied Spaceballs with some kind of space western.
Yep.
All right. Again, as you said, directed by Mel Brooks, written by Mel Brooks, Thomas Meehan, and Ronnie Graham. starring Mel Brooks as President Scrooge, the late great John Candy as Barf, Rick Moranis as Dark Helmet, Bill Pullman as Lone Star, Daphne Zuniga, Dick Van Patten, Michael Winslow of the Police Academy movies, the man with 1,000 sound effects, if you will.
The bleeps, the creeps, and the sweeps.
Joan
What?
Rivers
The what?
as Dot Matrix, the C3PO. She's probably the best part of this movie, in my opinion.
I'm partial to Barf, but yes.
Yeah. Ronnie Graham is the minister. Do you? So, okay. Little spoofy breakdown here. Again, for those of you that may not be familiar with this classic. A star pilot for hire and his trusty sidekick must come to the rescue of a princess and save planet Druidia from the clutches of the evil Spaceballs. And what's great about this is obviously they are spoofing Star Wars, but they're there's another big group of little spoofs in there about just sci-fi. You've got Alien, you've got Planet of the Apes, is referenced and whatnot.
Yeah, it's not just Star Wars. That's just kind of the main plot point.
Yeah.
Bill Pullman's character is Han Solo, essentially.
Bill and Luke Skywalker.
And yep, that's true. Yeah, he has. You're right. He is both of them.
With you. Obviously, in classic Mel Brooks fashion, he plays more than one character.
Yep.
He plays, President Scrooge, but he also plays Yogurt.
Yep. Hilarious.
Just classic breaking the fourth wall, where what if we just watched Spaceball, the movie? Everything is happening now.
When did that happen? That happened before. Well, can we go back? No, we can't go back, sir. Never show this again.
I see you playing with your toys again.
Everybody's on point. Rick Moranis, one of my favorite scenes, the coffee scene. How does this radar work? Let's, Mr. Coffee, sir. Would you like a cup of coffee? Of course I would. Everybody knows I drink coffee when I watch my radar. And then you
raspberry. Lone Star.
Only one person would dare jam us with raspberry jam. Lone Star.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to do a Mel Brooks.
We will, yeah.
Because I can spend the rest of our time just on this movie alone. Because there's just so much and it's so deep and
the stunt doubles.
Yeah.
When they catch the stunt doubles, that's one of my
favorites. You got the stunt doubles. The only tragedy is we never got Star Wars 2, The Search for Spaceballs 2. Oh, I just slapped myself for making that error. Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money.
Yeah, I mean, Mel Brooks is a genius. The fact that he's still out there living and like doing Broadway and shit is just insane at like 96 years old or whatever the fuck he is. So yeah, I mean, this is what you could tell we enjoy this topic a lot. But let's go on, and we're gonna move on to our next segment, Wayne, our review.
Of the week.
Yeah. All right. We have a brand new movie from last week. Now, this is one of those things like it's on Roku, the Roku channel, people. So, unfortunately, there are only like two ways to get it. You could do it online if you sign up through the Roku channel, or you could, but there's no like app to like download the Amazon or anything, or you have to have a Roku, which is the easiest way to do it because it has the Roku channel. It is Weird, the Al Yankovich Story, which is a spoof biopic about the true story of Weird Al Yankovic and where he came from and the trials and tribulations of a young man with a long curly mop and a creepy mustache and a Hawaiian shirt. It stars huge cast here. But of course, to start off, we have Daniel Radcliffe as Weird Al. Diedrich Bader is the grizzled narrator who is supposed to be older Weird Al, which of course will not make sense by the time you get to the end of this movie. Also, I want to say right out front, spoilers right away. We're probably going to talk, very through and through with this film, so we're not going to leave anything out. Um, Lin Manuel Miranda is the Doctor, Rainn Wilson, Julian Nicholson, Toby Huss, Thomas Lennon. Let's see, you have Scott Aukerman, Jonah Ray, a bunch of comedians play a bunch of characters, like real life characters. You have Evan Rachel Wood is the other main star. She plays Madonna. Um, you have Weird Al as the music agent, very much straight out of Bohemian Rhapsody. They do that same scene that Mike Myers when he like kicked Queen out of his office. It's very similar in this. Um,
Yep.
so we meet Weird Al as a young child who falls in love with polka music and writing his own lyrics to songs that are already written.
You didn't tell me it was a polka party.
Oh my god, they're like I, I mean, explaining the plot to this movie, I don't even know if it's worth explaining.
Here, let me just jump in real quick. If you like Weird Al music, this is the absolute perfection in honoring what he has done in his
Yes,
career.
and
The parody versus parody movie to songs and career, just chef's kiss. Just yes. If
you
you
know,
love it, if you love him, you're gonna love this movie. If you don't really care for it, well, you're probably gonna be a little bit scratching your head about what's going on.
and
So,
why people like it so much. It This movie, and again, spoiler from the moment where he picks up the accordion to then kills Pablo Escobar to his inevitable death at the Grammys. This movie just it like just keeps I'm watching it last night, Wayne, and I'm like, that's right, this is from the guy who did UHF. Like that's why
mhm.
this movie is so fucking crazy. Like it just and you just see his sense of humor where it translates into song and everybody loves the songs, but I can understand like watching this movie that people aren't not everyone's going to love this type of movie because it is just so it just keeps going. It keeps pushing the envelope. All of a sudden he's, in the fucking middle of Colombia trying to rescue Madonna from Escobar. So
Yep.
like there's so
I
many
remember when that happened. It was tragic.
they really brushed it. They tried to brush it under the rug, the CIA obviously. Um it's just yeah, there's so many moments in this movie. I know we're just kind of jumping around here. The plot follow basically all you need to know about the plot is it follows your basic walk the line, Ray, Bohemian Rhapsody biopic story. Um,
Mhm.
Makes it obviously very funny and so it's a parody. You didn't tell me, like Wayne said, you didn't tell me it was a polka party. His friends break him out of the house to go hang out at a polka party, which no one ever did. Because as people know, Weird Al, not only does he do parody songs, but some of his original songs that he does write are polka songs, and for the most of, I would say, the majority of them are polka songs. Um, they're funny, but they're just they're not usually parodies. Uh,
The another one rides the bus scene
yeah,
with Wolfman Jack. Just I don't know, like the epic showdown, if you
I
will, the
I
ultimate
loved
challenge.
the jokes of how so that in every one of these biopics they have a scene where the artist is like, hey, oh, like I just got an idea for. Wait, what'd you just say? Oh, you just said that. Oh my god, I got an idea for a song. So the song, what's the one at the apartment with the toaster? Which song is that? That's
My Bologna,
My
my
Bologna.
Sharona.
Yes. Yes, just like the whole imagery of everything that he's opening a package of bologna and it says like my bologna and it's just like and there's Steve's bologna or whatever and it's
Yeah.
just all the things that like he starts seeing he's like putting it together like this is the song, man. And it constantly happens throughout the film. It's fantastic. The like a surgeon scene is great.
Yay!
That was one of
What
those.
is? Let's just stop right here for a second. What is your favorite Weird Al version song? Do you have one?
So my favorite is probably it's the first CD I bought. I forget what the name of the CD was, but it had Yoda on it, which was Lola, but Yoda.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yoda.
Yoda, yo 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 Yoda. I
That's
do
funny.
obviously love Amish Paradise, of course.
Yeah. Obviously, following the Star Wars thing, uh, American Pie's version
Yep.
of this
Hey
here
there,
Anakin
hey
guy.
yeah, hey there, Mr. Anakin guy. Love that
Yeah.
one.
And obviously, because I love Nirvana, smells like Nirvana.
Yep.
So that was
I love that story too of the Nirvana one where Kurt Cobain was like, "Oh, are you gonna make something like smells like farts or something like this?" He's like, "No, it's gonna be a song about how no one can understand your lyrics." He's like, "Oh, all right." It's like,
and I think that was cool because obviously there we all know the turmoil between Coolio and Weird Al, where
yep,
the record company gave Weird Al permission
yes,
and said, "Oh yeah, Coolio's fine with it," and he was not at all.
yeah.
And so
They made up later in life before Coolio passed away, but
yeah, no, it's just like
yeah,
and Weird Al was like, "Wow, I'm like I wouldn't have done this if I
he
known he was."
felt you could tell he felt really bad about it because it was one of those moments that again, they asked permission, they assumed they had it, and then the studio kind of like, well, we don't, they didn't have to ask Coolio, so they didn't, but he wanted permission from all of the artists before he did the song.
You got to think that the numbers and records of the parodies that he did had to have
Yeah,
done something for them, so it wasn't all bad.
yeah, right, exactly. Well, and that was the whole premise of the movie too, is the fact that anytime he does a parody of your song, your albums skyrocket, and that was the whole Madonna's whole ploy to get him to do one of her songs was so that her album would make her even more money.
You mean it
um
wasn't love?
no, it wasn't love.
Uh,
Fucking Madonna. But Evan Rachel Wood was fantastic, by the way. I thought she was great.
yeah,
Fun.
they did a really good job with just like making it believable. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it was fun to see her in this movie. I think like this type of movie,
yeah.
as it was again. You get Daniel Radcliffe and you get her, mostly known for doing very serious stuff. Maybe lighthearted in some of the Harry Potters and stuff, but dramatic acting, and you get them to do this very silly, very goofy film, and I think it worked out perfectly. Um, they got everything they wanted out of this film. It was just, yeah. I mean, just also too, Wayne, the fact that they flip it and that he wrote Eat It and Amish Paradise before Coolio wrote Gangster's Paradise and Michael Jackson wrote Beat It. I thought that was a really funny twist on it. Uh,
Yes.
who's this fucking Michael Jackson guy anyway? There was so many good moments in it. Radcliffe nails it. Um, I do think it's funny too that they cast someone who's like seriously like a foot shorter than him, because Weird
Yes.
Al is like 6'3" or 6'4". He's
Yeah.
tall, and Radcliffe is not a tall gentleman. Also, Danny Radcliffe very ripped in the scene on the stage where he starts yelling at everybody. I was like, oh, it was fucking he got into it. I guess I don't know why he got ripped, but unless that's just how he normally
He
is.
did all that full frontal nudity in that play that he did, Equus.
I guess, yeah. Just never knows when an opportunity like that's going to pop up again.
Pop up again. Pun intended.
Oh, you snorted. Um, yeah. So, I mean, this is a film that, again, I'll put it like this: if you like UHF or any of the other films that we just talked about, specifically two, which we didn't really talk about a lot in this episode, Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. If you like that, you'll like this because this is very much in that vein. It felt like that kind of movie. You get great performances from other actors pretending to be like Alice Cooper and Gallagher, Pee Wee Herman. You had Jorma Tacome as Pee Wee Herman, which I thought was fantastic. So there was lots to like. Jack Black as Wolf was it Wolfman Jack, right?
Yes.
I was
That was fantastic.
That was great. Rainn
You brought
Wilson
up
as Dr.
Gallagher,
Demento.
and I remember I watched this last week. I'm like, oh, Gallagher. I wonder what he's up to. We'll talk
Yeah.
about him in a little bit.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, we will. Um, but yeah, so I mean that's the movie, everybody. I think again, if you know those other movies we talked about, I think you'll know if you'll like it or not going in. Wayne, what is your rating of the film?
Oh, for its genre and what it tried to accomplish, it's like a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
In the grand scope of things, is it something I'm going to revisit anytime soon? Probably not. So For what it was intending to do, yeah, 9 out of 10. Overall, probably about a 6.5.
See, I would say 7.5 to 8. I think it's um, it's not a laugh a minute, but it is like once you realize like how ridiculous the movie keeps getting as you go on, and if you like that aspect of it, which I do, you really start to enjoy it.
It's something you're gonna have to be in the mood for. It's not something you're
Yes,
just gonna
for
pop
sure,
on at any
for sure.
time. But
Definitely. Again, only could watch it on the Roku channel, so figure that out. You could probably stream it on any streaming service that you have that you could a legal streaming service. Hopefully Roku. I do hope that Roku. Hopefully you're listening, Roku. Release it on Blu-ray. I would like to own a copy of this on Blu-ray. Put it on my shelf with all my other spoof films. All right. So moving into what we watched this week, Wayne. Anything you want to talk about?
yeah, sticking with the Western theme, Dawson and I watched City Slickers for the first time, and
Nice.
he enjoyed it. Had a lot of questions. It was nostalgic for me watching it as a young man and just having like when certain scenes happen. I remember watching it as a child, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh goodness, hey, yeah, hello. I'm 39 years old and I'm saying moo cow in the middle of a river. So that was fun.
Great cast too. Great cast.
Yes, finishing up Yellowstone again. So that obviously not a comedy, very much a drama, a drama, a drama. So
Drama, yes.
getting ready for that to start back up. Hint, hint, coming soon. And yeah, just that's about it.
Okay. I watched Causeway with Jennifer Lawrence, which I liked. Rebecca did not really like it, but I liked it. It was a good movie. Similar, I watched The Stranger, another very slow, contemplative film that this one's about a murder. Really great performances from Joel Edgerton and Sean Harris. That one's on Netflix. Causeway's on Apple. Bullet Train with Brad Pitt. I liked it. It was a very fun movie. People probably saw the trailers for it when it was in theaters. I think people will like this one. It's entertaining. It's not great or anything, but it's a fun movie. Brad Pitt's great in it. The cast is fantastic. Great overall cast. And then yesterday I took Donovan to go see Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. We loved it. It was great. It was a really fun movie, very emotional. Great send off for Chadwick Boseman. Really, really well done. So definitely people should see that in theaters. I also did finish watching the Blockbuster TV show on Netflix. While it's not something I would say is like great comedy or anything, as a former Blockbuster employee, I really did enjoy it. Obviously, when I'm watching something like that, I'm listening for all the movie jokes and movie quips and just the mentions of other films and stuff. So I would say watch it, but watch it not expecting, you know, brilliance or anything. It's a fun, stupid little comedy. Hopefully they make more. I don't know that they will or not. I'm not sure how well it did. But yeah, so that's what I've watched this week. All right, so let's get into the news and notes. Wrap this baby up. Ryan Murphy produced shows Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer one, and The Watcher renewed for more seasons. There will be 2 new seasons of Monster, which will focus each on a different serial killer, making it an anthology show. No word on what season 2 of The Watcher will be. The Watcher, I bowed out after 2 episodes. I just couldn't get into it. But I know people did watch. It was very well watched. So whether people liked it or not, I have no idea. Ana de Armas will have a John Wick spinoff called Ballerina. It'll begin filming soon. Keanu Reeves and Ian McShane will reprise their roles from the John Wick films. Daniel Kaluuya will voice Spider-Punk in Sony's 2-part animated sequel, Spider-Man Across the Universe. Or Across the Universe. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Netflix to adapt Gears of War into a film and an adult animated series that will act as a sequel to the film. A Million Little Things to end with upcoming 5th season, the way the creators always planned. Nick Cage starring in Long Legs from horror director Oz Perkins, son of horror icon Anthony Perkins. Lin-Manuel Miranda cast as Hermes in Disney Plus Percy Jackson series. Comedian, actor, and SNL alum Sajir Zamata joins Marvel's Agatha series. James Wan cancels plan for Crooked Man spinoff. Sean Levy set up to direct Star Wars film after Deadpool 3 and Stranger Things final episodes. Director J.D. Dillard has 2 projects at Disney canceled at the same time, an untitled Star Wars film and Rocketeer 2. Edgar Ramirez to be new Dr. Death in season 2 of the anthology series. Disney looking to develop Indiana Jones series for Disney Plus. Travis Fimmel cast as male lead in Dune Sisterhood series at HBO Max. Carrie Scogland directing Wind River Next Chapter. Native actor Martin Sensmeyer will reprise his role from the Elizabeth Olsen and Jeremy Renner starring first film. He will take center stage as the new main character. Snoop Dogg biopic happening at Universal with Alan Hughes, director of Menace to Society, and one half of the Hughes brothers team directing. Batman to appear in Blue Beetle film, no word on which Batman. Rumor that Owen Wilson is returning as Agent Mobius in Deadpool 3. For those not aware, Owen Wilson plays Agent Mobius, a time agent in the Loki TV series. Tom Holland rumored to have closed new deal to continue as MCU Spider-Man. Releases coming up. Carnival Row, second and now final season, debuts February 17th on Prime Video. Missing, sequel to John Cho's Searching, hits theaters January 20th, starring Storm Reed and Nia Long. Deaths this week. Leslie Phillips, the voice of the Sorting Hat, dead at 98. Kevin O'Neill, comic book artist known for Nemesis, the Warlock, Martial Law, and League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, dead at 69. Kevin Conroy, the voice known as the voice of Batman, dead at 66. And then Gallagher, the comedian famous for watermelon smashing, dead at 76. So rest in peace to all those. Again, thank you for listening to us every week. Like Wayne talked about last week, our numbers have been up. So thank you everybody for that. We hope you continue to enjoy our podcast and our movie talks. Wayne, any final thoughts?
Appreciate everybody tuning in and listening. Thank you for all the shares and likes, and I very much appreciate it if you guys keep going and keep listening. Thank you guys.
All right, everybody. This has been another episode of Wow.
Try that one again. Take 2.
All right, everybody. I was going to say thank you. Everybody, this has been another episode of Now Showing with Mike and Wayne.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
Ronald Reagan, the actor?
Hasta la vista, baby.
Hey, everybody, we're all gonna get laid.